one, you are not here by accident. It's no coincidence that your eyes are fixed on this video exactly today. Today is not just another day on the calendar. Today is May 19th, and this date carries something that many ignore. But the chosen recognize it immediately. A sacred code from heaven has been released. It might sound exaggerated to those who live on the surface, but if you're feeling something different vibrating inside of you right now, it's because you are connected to the divine frequency. And when that frequency is activated, miracles begin to move with urgency. What was stuck begins to flow. What seemed distant begins to approach. What looked impossible starts to manifest. Listen closely. Today, May 19th, is a point of restart, a spiritual gateway that opens for the chosen who have suffered too much, who have cried in silence, who have felt forgotten by God. But now, heaven is moving. And if you're ready to hear and receive, this will be the beginning of your month of miracles. Nothing was by chance, not the tears, not the delays, not the closed doors. You were being prepared in silence to be revealed at the right time, and that time is now. But pay attention. For the miracles to come, there is something you need to understand. God is never late. He arrives exactly when you're about to give up. That's when divine intervention happens. It's when you think you have no strength left that He says, "Now I can act. Now you won't try with your own hands. Now you will let me be God." Today, while the world rushes, you were set apart to listen. You were led to this message because something is about to start moving in your favor. But that depends on your ability to listen, to surrender, to believe. Miracles are not coincidences. They are codes, frequencies, spiritual responses aligned with what's happening in the unseen. And on this May 19th, something is being unlocked in the heavenly realms. You felt tired, but it was soul tiredness, not just physical exhaustion. You felt lonely, but it was the loneliness of the spirit, crying out silently for a purpose. And now, that pain begins to transform. You start to realize that your entire life was preparation, that every person who abandoned you, every betrayal, every delay, every slammed door, it was all God shaping you. He wasn't punishing you. He was setting you apart. He was positioning you for what is coming now. The spiritual world moves before the physical one. And today, if you receive this message with an open heart, you will be aligned with what has already been released in the higher dimensions. There are doors ready to open. There are healings already being released. There are answers that will arrive faster than you imagine. But it all starts when you listen. You, who are watching this, need to understand. May will not be an ordinary month. It will be the month of revelation, the month of spiritual movement, the month when everything that seemed dead starts to come back to life. May 19th is the beginning of the activation, and the days ahead will be an intense outpouring of signs, confirmations, and miracles. But the first step is to open your mind and renew your understanding. Remember the passage? Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. That's exactly it. You need to reprogram your spirit. Leave behind the frequency of fear, discouragement, scarcity, and step into the frequency of faith, vision, and promise. Are you ready? Then declare it now in the comments. May is my month of miracles. Write it. Confirm it with your words. The power of manifestation begins when your mouth speaks what your spirit already knows. this is just the beginning. In the next sections, you will understand what to do in the coming days, how to align with this energy, and how to activate the miracles that are already waiting for you. Do you realize how the universe seems to go silent just before something grand happens? There is an exact moment, a sacred instant, when heaven aligns with earth and something shifts within you. It's not visible, it's not logical, but you feel it. It's as if time pauses for a brief second, and everything prepares itself for the miracle. And that moment, for you, is very near. Not because someone said so, not because you heard it somewhere, but because your soul already knows. You've been feeling it for days now. Something different in the air, vivid dreams, intense thoughts, signs starting to repeat, numbers, words, encounters. And all of this is guiding you toward May 19th, a date that may seem ordinary on the calendar, but it carries a powerful spiritual code for the chosen ones. This date is not random. It is a turning point, a portal, a key. And when you connect with it consciously, something begins to move. You open space for what was already destined, but needed your vibrational permission to manifest. You've been conditioned to wait for things to get better, to wait for others to change, to wait for God to notice you. But what if I told you that God never took his eyes off you? That, from the very beginning, he had a plan, and that this plan involves every single pain you've endured, because through them, you became strong enough to receive what's coming. Have you noticed that people who haven't faced trials can't sustain miracles? They may receive temporary blessings, but they don't know how to care for them, honor them, persevere with them. But you were broken inside, crushed emotionally, tested in faith, cast aside. And that wasn't a mistake. It was preparation. God is looking for true hearts, and yours is one of them. While many got lost in ego, you remained firm even with tears in your eyes. While many looked for shortcuts, you chose the narrow path. And even when you wanted to give up, something held you. That something was him. May 19th is more than a date. It's a divine reminder that the time has come, and you must be ready for three things: to receive, to discern, and to act. Receiving means letting go of everything that's blocking your energy. Resentments, guilt, regrets, fears. None of that can inhabit the same space where miracles manifest. You need to open space in your heart. Discerning means realizing that not everything that shines is a blessing. Some doors will open just to test your focus. Some people will come close just to distract you from your path. And that's why you must be spiritually awake. Acting means understanding that faith without works is dead, that miracles don't happen in passivity. They happen when you take a step, even without seeing the ground. When you say yes to the calling, even without knowing where it will lead you. And as frightening as that may seem, you are not alone. You never were. There is a spiritual movement happening right now. Thousands of chosen ones around the world are awakening at this very moment. It's as if they're all being activated together. An invisible network of light expanding across cities, countries, continents. All of them feeling the same inner call. The time has come. You may feel like your life has been stuck for a long time, like everything is blocked, like you're trapped in a never-ending cycle. But that's going to change, because cycles only repeat until you understand the lesson. And now, finally, you've understood it. Not with your mind, but with your soul. You are ready. And when you're ready, the universe reorganizes. God sends the resources. The right door opens. The right person appears. The right path is revealed. But that only happens when there's alignment. And this video, this message, is alignment. Do you think it was a coincidence you found it? It wasn't. This was spiritually synchronized. A response to your silent prayer. An echo from heaven saying, "I heard you." And now it's your turn. There's an urgency in the air. Not a desperate urgency, but a sacred urgency. The time of waiting is over. You've been prepared long enough. Now is the time for the harvest. It's time for the testimony. It's time to step into the place that was always yours. And know this, the more intense your pain was, the greater your anointing will be. The longer you waited, the more abundant what you're going to receive will be. The universe pays interest on every second of suffering you endured with faith. And the month of May, specifically the 19th, is when this release begins. Prepare yourself, and not just emotionally. Prepare your environment. Get rid of what's old. Clean up what no longer serves. Organize your thoughts. Raise your vibration. Pray more. Meditate more. Write your desires clearly. Visualize. And most of all, be grateful. As if you've already received. Because gratitude before the blessing is the password to the miracle. It doesn't matter what others say. It doesn't matter if no one believes in you. It doesn't even matter if you've doubted everything. What matters is that God believes, and He's calling you now. Will you ignore this calling, or will you say yes? Have you ever noticed how the greatest transformations in life happen in silence? There are no fireworks, no crowds applauding, no cameras recording. True change begins within, in the invisible, in the secret. That's how miracles operate, discreet, yet devastatingly powerful. And this month of May, especially starting on the 19th, the invisible begins to become visible. That feeling you've been carrying for a long time, that something much greater was about to happen, wasn't imagination. It was spiritual perception. You were sensing in your spirit what your eyes couldn't see yet. But now everything is about to align. What once felt blocked will begin to flow. What seemed distant will begin to draw near. And what seemed impossible will begin to happen. Because miracles don't follow human logic, they follow divine purpose. And when purpose is activated, nothing can stop the manifestation. Maybe you've gone through a phase of confusion, moments when nothing made sense, friendships that ended, doors that closed, opportunities that slipped away. All of that was necessary, not to punish you, but to position you. Some people had to leave your life because they weren't ready for what you're about to live. Some doors needed to close because they would have led you away from your true destiny. And some opportunities weren't blessings, they were distractions. Now everything begins to make sense. Every loss, every tear, every no you received. It was all preparing the ground for the most important yes of your life. You didn't come this far by accident. You were guided, protected, and prepared. Even when you felt lost, you were being led. Even when everything was falling apart, you were being rebuilt from the inside. And now, you will finally understand why it took so long. God wasn't late. He was strengthening you. Because what's coming is too big to be carried by a fragile heart. It was necessary to build inner structure. It was necessary to develop patience, wisdom, and discernment. And you, even without realizing, allowed that process to happen. Heaven witnessed every time you chose to do good, even when no one was watching. Every time you prayed in silence, even without answers. Every time you kept believing, even with no signs. And now, finally, you will be rewarded. May 19th marks the beginning of a divine season. And you need to know, what comes from God doesn't arrive with doubt. It arrives with peace. You won't need to force anything, chase after it, beg, or exhaust yourself. What is yours will find its way to you, and when it arrives, you will know. But there is an essential detail. You must be available. Many miracles don't manifest because the heart is closed, because the mind is too occupied with fear, because the soul is stuck in the past. So in this moment, you need to make a conscious choice to release the guilt, release the doubts, release the need to control everything. Miracles happen when you let go, when you surrender, when you say, "Lord, I don't understand, but I trust." The faith that moves mountains is exactly that. The faith that walks in darkness with the eyes of the soul. And that is the faith being activated in you in this cycle. Because the calling being released right now is not for the strong in the world, but for the strong in spirit. For those who were broken and still remain standing. For those who were rejected by the world but embraced by God. You, chosen one, are one of them. And do you know what the greatest sign is that a miracle is about to happen? Resistance, the increase in spiritual attacks, the feeling of extreme exhaustion without cause, the negative thoughts trying to sabotage you. All of that is a clear sign. Something enormous is about to be born, and the opposing forces are desperately trying to stop it. But they won't succeed. Because what God writes, man cannot erase. What he decides to release, no force of darkness can block. And he has decided. It is your time. It is your moment. It is your month. Everything begins now. Not just material blessings. Not just outward answers. But a deep, inner, irreversible transformation. You will start to see yourself differently. You'll feel more clarity, more strength, more courage. You'll realize that what used to scare you now empowers you. What once seemed impossible is now just a matter of time. And in this divine timing, the speed of things will be supernatural. What would normally take months will happen in days. What seemed far away will arrive with precision. And when you look back, you'll understand. Nothing was in vain. Everything was part of the plan. So prepare yourself to witness the impossible. But not as a spectator, as the protagonist. You weren't chosen to simply watch other people's miracles. You were chosen to live them, to carry them, to be the miracle in someone else's life. And it all begins when you choose to truly believe. Not just with words, but with surrender, with conviction, with the posture of someone who knows that heaven has already signed the decree. You are entering a time where your words will have even more power, where your thoughts will become reality faster, where your prayers will be answered before you even finish speaking. Because you've aligned with the right frequency, because you've entered the center of divine will, and nothing is more powerful than that. You need to understand one thing right now, before it's too late. There are spiritual windows that open for a limited time, moments when heaven is closer to earth, and those who are attentive can hear, see, and feel what others cannot perceive. And one of these windows is May 19th. This day carries a prophetic vibration. It marks a turning point, the breaking of the old cycle, the end of a silent waiting. And those who are spiritually awake will notice clear signs, repeated synchronicities, dreams that bring messages, and an inexplicable sense of urgency in their chest. As if something enormous is about to happen. You are being called for this moment because your soul recognizes this frequency. You are sensitive to the movements of the invisible. Even without understanding all the details, something inside you already knows. The time is coming to live everything God has promised. But there is an important point here. Miracles do not manifest on just any ground. They require preparation. You are like a living temple, and an urgent spiritual cleansing must happen. Remove the grudges, resentments, fears, and especially the voices that keep telling you that you are not capable. The truth is that the enemy tried to distort your identity for a long time, tried to convince you that you were small, weak, unworthy. But all of that was a lie. You have always been too great to hide, always carried too much light to camouflage. And now that light will shine without filters, without limitations, without fear. You are someone's answered prayer. You carry a healing the world needs. You are not a coincidence. You are divine strategy. And that's why the attacks were so intense, why the resistance was so heavy. Because hell already knew your mission even before you awakened to it. But you are awakening. And that changes everything. Right now, the spiritual world is moving. Angels are being sent. Doors are being unlocked. Promises are being activated. But this will not happen for just anyone. The energy that will be poured out on May 19th will be absorbed only by those who are in a position of surrender. Those who decide to trust with everything. If you keep trying to understand with your mind, you will block yourself. Because miracles are not explained, they are lived. And you are being invited to live something that goes beyond logic, beyond human expectation, beyond what anyone could predict. This phase of your life will be marked by 3 things. Restoration. Everything that was broken without just cause, true friendships, stolen opportunities, neglected dreams, will be restored with even greater strength. And not just restored, but elevated. What God returns, He improves. Revelation. You will begin to see beyond appearances. Masks will fall. People will be revealed. And most importantly, your calling will become clearer. You will realize with clarity what you came here to do and why you had to go through everything you went through. Reward. The faithfulness you kept in silence. The kindness you practiced even without applause. The faith you held while everyone doubted. All of this will come back now in the form of favor, provision, abundance, and peace. Not because you forced it, but because you trusted. And more, none of this depends on your perfect performance. It's not about worthiness. It's about alignment. It's about positioning yourself as a son, as a daughter, as someone who knows they have an inheritance and doesn't need to beg for love, acceptance, or attention from anyone. Starting May 19th, you will notice a change in your environment. People who didn't see you before will begin to notice you. Doors that seemed sealed will start to open. The impossible will begin to seem logical, because you are moving out of the sphere of struggle and entering the space of grace. And those who walk in grace walk with lightness, walk with direction, walk with purpose. So right now, close your inner eyes, silence the outside noise. Breathe deeply and say to yourself, I accept the new that God has for me. I release the old. I trust the journey. These words activate spiritual codes, and everything that is activated in the spirit manifests in the physical world with precision. That's why you need to take care of your frequency from now on. What you say, think, consume, and feel shapes your reality. You can no longer feed feelings of scarcity, anger, comparison, or fear. These feelings delay you, block you, disconnect you from the source. You need to nourish faith, gratitude, hope, and vision. Speak as if you have already received. Feel as if you have already won. Act as if you already have it. Because heaven responds to the faith that is expressed before the blessing arrives. And listen, something powerful is being released right now. Promises that have been dormant for years will begin to stir, as if a new energy is starting to pulse, giving life to what seemed dead. Relationships, ministries, spiritual gifts, projects, everything begins to revive. And it's not just any kind of life. It is abundant life, the kind of life that makes sense, that lifts you up with purpose every day, that connects you with people who add value, that attracts opportunities aligned with your soul, that puts you exactly where you are supposed to be. This is your time. This is your month. This is your miracle. And if you received this word, it's because it's already yours. Now just keep your heart clean, your mind awake, and your faith firm. What God began, He will finish. And the end will be much greater than anything you imagined. You're still here, and that's no small thing. It means your soul recognized the truth in this calling. You felt the touch. You heard the frequency. And now, something inside you is pulsing differently. As if every word spoken until now has activated secret codes that were dormant in your spirit. 'Cause that's exactly what's happening. There are moments in life when everything changes, not on the outside, but within. It's when your spirit decides it will no longer accept living small, hidden, disconnected from its divine origin. It's when you rise, not with shouting or brute force, but with a quiet, spiritual authority. A force the world can't understand, but heaven recognizes. And that's what is awakening in you now. May 19th is not just a date on the calendar. It is a point of transition, an energetic realignment. A window in time where the spiritual accelerates and the earthly bows before true faith. It's when your voice, your intention, your stance, all begin to echo louder in the invisible realm. That's why you must act wisely from this moment on. The first action is distance yourself from what weakens your soul. Certain people, environments, and even thoughts need to be cut off now, not out of hate, but out of love for your destiny. You need to preserve the energy that will sustain the miracles to come. You must stay in a high frequency because miracles are drawn to those who are in tune with heaven. The second action is keep moving. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Don't wait for all the signs to align. God works with those who walk by faith, even when they can't see the ground. A small step, when guided by Him, opens massive doors. Do what is within your reach with excellence. The rest will follow as a consequence. And the third action is confess with your mouth what your spirit already believes. There is power in the spoken word. When you declare blessings, you activate atmospheres. When you release words of victory, you transform environments. So repeat with me now, with confidence. I am a miracle in motion. The waiting time is over. Heaven is opening above me, and everything that belongs to me is coming to me now. Take a deep breath. Feel it. This isn't just a phrase, it's a proclamation. It's you spiritually signing the beginning of a new cycle. And from this moment on, you'll begin to notice even stronger signs. People from your past trying to reconnect, but now with a different energy. Doors that were once shut, cracking open effortlessly. Prophetic dreams revealing details of your next step. A feeling of peace in the midst of chaos. Encounters with souls aligned to your purpose. But pay close attention. All of this comes with resistance. Whenever the light starts to shine brighter, the shadows become restless. Energetic attacks, emotional distractions, sudden doubts, all of it may surface. Don't be alarmed. That's a sign you're advancing. And if they try to stop you, smile. Because the greater the resistance, the bigger the impact you're about to make. Now listen carefully to something profound the Spirit is saying. You weren't called just to receive miracles. You were called to be a miracle. You are an answer. You are a bridge. You are healing. The way you speak, walk, love, and take your stand carries something transformative. That's why you never quite fit in. That's why everything has always felt more intense for you. Because what dwells in you is not ordinary. It is sacred. And that is precisely why the month of May will be a turning point. From this moment forward, you'll be surrounded by a series of divine synchronicities. The right people at the right time, unlikely opportunities opening space, invisible protections encircling you with every step. But remember, miracles aren't meant to be explained. They're meant to be witnessed. So when they start happening, and they will, don't keep it to yourself. Share it. Testify. Inspire others to open themselves to this frequency. Because when one chosen one awakens, they pull a legion with them. You have no idea how many lives will be impacted by your courage to believe. Now it's time to seal this journey. If you felt this message spoke directly to you, if something inside you was undeniably activated, if you know this is your time, that this is your moment, then like this video right now. That helps spread this energy to other chosen ones who also need to awaken. Share it with someone you love, someone who urgently needs to hear this word. And subscribe to the channel, because here you'll be fed with messages that lift, that empower, that remind you who you truly are. Don't walk alone. This channel is a spiritual refuge for those who feel, who perceive, who have been marked by purpose. You didn't make it here by accident. You were guided. You were chosen. And now, everything begins to arrive.